Today, we're diving into one of the hottest topics in the digital world, TikTok's ban. Yes, you heard that right. TikTok, the app that brought us viral dances, funny skits, kept us company during COVID 19 lockdown, and brought us creative communities, is facing ban in several countries. But why is this happening? And what does it mean for us creators and users alike? Plus, there's a big US deadline coming up in January that could change everything. So let's get straight into it. First thing first, let's start with the basics. TikTok has been banned or restricted in multiple countries, and here's why. The app, owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance, has been accused of collecting user data that might be accessible to the Chinese government. This has sparked concern about privacy, national security, and even propaganda. Some countries that have placed a ban in TikTok include India. They banned TikTok back in 2020, citing risks to national security and sovereignty. Nepal imposed a ban in 2023 over concerns about harmful content spreading on the platform. Afghanistan and Somalia banned TikTok due to cultural concerns and misuse by extremist groups. Taiwan restricted TikTok on public sector devices because of fear of cyber espionage. France, UK, Australia, and New Zealand also placed a ban on TikTok on government devices to protect sensitive information. Now, the big one we have right by the corner, the United States is set to place a ban on TikTok, and this time around, the ban is going to be worldwide. No one in the US would be using TikTok. And even those who enter the country from other countries where TikTok isn't banned will not have access to TikTok while in the country. So they have placed a date and they're telling TikTok you might need to sell. But now everyone is on suspense. What's going to happen? Now let's talk about why a ban in US matters more or a lot more than in other countries. The US is one of TikTok's largest markets with over 150 million active users. That's not just millions of casual users scrolling, it includes a massive creator economy worth billions of dollars. Like, we all know our favorite influencers in the US who use TikTok not just for fun, but as a means of generating revenue, over 150 million of them. So that means if the ban does happen, there's going to be an economic influence. The US creator economy on TikTok, which generates billions through ad revenue, brand partnerships, and influencer marketing, would be disrupted by a ban. Now, that's not all. The US is a powerhouse and it shapes global internet culture. If TikTok disappears from the US, trends, memes, and viral challenges might lose their momentum worldwide. That means if we have a style or a video here in Nigeria and we place it on TikTok, people in the US would not see it. That would limit our access. And oh my God, it would be so sad for people who have international audience. So it means that your videos won't get to the US. And thinking about it right now, I'm actually very sad. And as a tech leader, the US often sets regulation trends for other countries. So it means if the US ban on TikTok goes through, other nations might follow because US is a powerhouse and has it has like global viral reach everywhere. You know, it's like a ripple effect. US does it and every other person just follows because I mean, like, it's the US, it's America, the land of the free, where dreams come through and all of that. So, yeah, it would be a very big loss. So, while bans in smaller countries are significant, a US ban could reshape the entire global tech landscape. Like, up until now, or up until yesterday, when I heard the news, or since I've been following the conversations, and before now, I didn't even know about the other countries that were placed that had bans on them. But US, it just suddenly became a national concern or an international concern. So yeah, it's a big deal. Now let's talk about people who would be affected. I already spoke a little bit about the creators, right? So global creators will lose reach. When India banned TikTok, creators lost access to 2 million users. A US ban would cut creators off from another massive audience. Like it has happened with India before, and now happening with US, another very big and large community or country, that would be a massive shot. And also, I'm thinking about international brands, probably US brands that have been using TikTok. They'll also get caught up from that. So it would be a major thing. So the major people who will be affected by this first are actually global creators, right? Another thing that would happen is the US brands, right? Brands that use TikTok to reach far and wide. A brand in Nigeria that could have reached audience in in America using TikTok, now you're no longer able to do that, right? Like you're no longer able to do that. It means your content is probably just going to be for Africans, is going to be restricted in certain places. Like I feel like right now making this video, I'm actually very sad. So creators and brands are going to be the most affected. But the good thing is we have like several other platforms that we can all diversify to. So now that I think about it, this is an indication that we need to diversify. And because a lot of platforms like Instagram, YouTube already have like short form of content, where YouTube has its shorts, YouTube shorts, and Instagram has reels, and and Twitter also allows you to post videos. So it means that we might need to go to these platforms and probably find other platforms that actually allow us to express ourselves in the way that we like, or in a way that allows us to reach the audience that we can no longer reach on TikTok. As a Nigerian, I think I'll continue using the app, but then I would also focus a lot more on TikTok, sorry, on YouTube, since it allows me to reach everyone better, right? So my take on it, when it comes to national security, I feel like I do not have like all the information when it comes to national security, data privacy, because sometimes I think to myself, anybody who takes my data now, what they need? I don't have a lot of money. I know it's not really, really useful to you right now, but then I can see its influence or the impact later down the line. If there's a war, if there's like cybersecurity issues, if there's like fraud, and different things could happen where people can even locate you with your data. So I understand the security issues. And yeah, China is a big country, so there's also the part that, according to research, the policies around the data usage, or data, how TikTok stores data and uses it, is not actually very strong. And there's also the concern that the Chinese government can actually just tell them to bring the data and they would be forced to do it. And I think that, knowing that China is almost a dictatorship now, I think so. So that I really understand. But then I'm thinking to myself, can this not be solved without like an absolute ban? Like, does it have to be like a straight up ban? What happens to put in restrictions? For instance, for the UK that says, okay, you can't use this on public devices or government devices, all of that. That would have been, I think, a bit better. But just totally cutting it off, it does feel like the US definitely has a very big issue with China and China companies. And now it makes me wonder what happens to American countries in China, it's like, yeah, if you're going to ban my guy from being in your country, then what stops me from banning your guy from being in my country? It makes me wonder, would China want to retaliate? So, but then again, China would lose also because it has a lot of Chinese country, including Temu that I spoke about last week, that operates in the US. So it's a big one. And right now I don't have all the answers, but I think that what I do know, that this is a call for us as creators to diversify, also to build our own platforms. So instead of just using YouTube and Instagram and TikTok because they're not necessarily ours and they could be stripped away from us anytime, we should actually build our own newsletters. We should build our own contact, our own communities. We should build a very deep community where it's beyond the follower count, the likes, and actually it's more with the community. And that if people don't see you, they can go on other platforms to search for you because that's how much you mean to them. So it's important that we're building beyond the virality, but actually building communities that care about us and that we care about. And also, we need to diversify and we need to have our own platforms. We need to have our own newsletters, like I mentioned before. We also need to have our own websites. Now, this is me talking to myself. So, yeah, I think that we need to do that. And also, I think we should just make the best of the opportunities that we have instead of waiting. Because I feel like, so imagine, for instance, me, I decided just a few weeks ago to start taking TikTok seriously, and there's a ban coming up. So it means that I should have started on time. So if I'd built my audience since, then maybe by the time the band is happening and I had fans or people in the US, then I would have built a good relationship with them. But it's almost already too late. But that doesn't mean I will stop creating. I'm still going to keep creating and just learn to diversify. And hopefully, I know that I will, not just hopefully, I do know that I will build my own community and it'll be great. All right, that's it for today's video. It's pretty short, simple, quick, easy. I hope you enjoyed listening. I definitely love to hear your thoughts. So definitely let me know what you think about this band coming up in the US in the comment section. And until next time, I remain Jessica Fortunes. Bye.